We all want to believe that people are inherently good, that those around us mean well, and that kindness is always reciprocated. But reality tells a different story. Some individuals are not just difficult or selfish, they are manipulative, deceitful, and even cruel. Their harmful nature isn't always obvious at first. They might appear friendly, charming, and supportive, but beneath the surface lies something more sinister. Evil doesn't always wear a villainous grin or dress in black like in the movies. Sometimes it hides behind a warm smile, kind words, or even thoughtful gestures. It can be a close friend who drains you emotionally, a co-worker who subtly sabotages you, or even a family member who makes you question your own reality. The worst part: most people don't realize they are dealing with someone truly harmful until it's too late. However, there is hope. Evil always leaves clues. If you know what to look for, you can protect your peace, mental health, and happiness. Today, we will break down 7 red flags that expose these toxic individuals before they get too close. Understanding these signs is crucial to safeguarding yourself from manipulation and harm. So, let's dive in. And before we start, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. Let's build awareness together. Manipulative people have a way of making you feel responsible for things that aren't your fault. No matter the situation, they twist the narrative to place the blame on you. This form of psychological manipulation, known as gaslighting, is designed to distort reality and make you doubt your own memory, perception, and even sanity. A striking historical example of gaslighting comes from Joseph Stalin, the former leader of the Soviet Union. Stalin was infamous for rewriting history, erasing political opponents from photographs, and shifting blame onto others. When his disastrous military decisions or policies led to mass suffering, he never took responsibility. Instead, he accused others of betrayal, treason, or incompetence. Those who dared to challenge his version of reality were either silenced or manipulated into believing they were wrong. This large-scale gaslighting not only deceived individuals but controlled an entire nation's perception of truth. The same tactics can manifest in everyday life, within relationships, workplaces, and families. Consider an employee whose boss constantly shifts blame onto them for mistakes made by the entire team. Even when they follow instructions perfectly, they're told they misunderstood or didn't do enough. Over time, they begin questioning their own competence, working harder to fix problems that were never theirs to begin with. Gaslighting is also prevalent in modern politics. Leaders sometimes deny past statements or actions despite clear evidence to the contrary. They insist the media is lying, that people misheard them, or that their words were taken out of context. Over time, supporters may begin doubting their own judgment, wondering if they had misunderstood events entirely. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the key to resisting gaslighting. Truth is not based on what others insist, it is based on what you know to be real. The more grounded you are in objective reality, the less control manipulators have over you. If you find yourself constantly feeling guilty, apologizing for things that aren't your fault, or questioning your own memory, take a step back. Look at the facts. Keep records if needed. Trust in your reason and perception. People who manipulate others this way do so to gain power, Refusing to play their game is the first step to reclaiming yours. Trust is one of the most fragile yet essential aspects of human relationships. When you open up to someone, whether a friend, partner, or mentor, you expect them to respect your honesty. But manipulative and toxic individuals see your vulnerabilities as opportunities. They gather details about your fears, insecurities, and weaknesses, not to support or comfort you, but to weaponize them when it serves their interests. History is filled with examples of powerful individuals who have exploited others' weaknesses to maintain control. J. Edgar Hoover, the first director of the FBI, amassed secret files on politicians, civil rights leaders, and even U.S. presidents. He collected private details about their personal lives, vulnerabilities, and mistakes, not for justice, but as leverage. If someone challenged his authority, he could subtly remind them of what he knew. The mere threat of exposure kept many in line, demonstrating how knowing someone's vulnerabilities grants immense power over them. A similar strategy was used by Joseph McCarthy, who led the infamous anti-communist hearings in the 1950s. He preyed on people's fears, accusing them of communist ties based on the flimsiest evidence. If someone had an embarrassing past or a secret they wanted to keep hidden, McCarthy would use it as a weapon to silence dissent. His ability to exploit people's weaknesses led to careers being destroyed and lives being ruined, all because he manipulated trust and fear. On a personal level, the same manipulation happens in relationships. Imagine a boss who pretends to care about their employees' struggles, only to later use those admissions against them during evaluations or promotions. Or a partner who encourages open communication, only to later throw painful past experiences back in an argument. This tactic is designed to break your spirit and make you feel powerless. A well-known modern example is Donald Trump's negotiation style. Whether in business or politics, he has been known to identify people's insecurities and use them to gain the upper hand. During debates or business dealings, he would attack opponents where they were weakest, whether it was their reputation, past failures, or personal struggles. This kind of psychological tactic keeps people off balance, making them easier to manipulate. The Stoics understood that emotional resilience is key to protecting yourself from manipulation. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic philosophers, said, "No one can harm you unless you allow them to." This doesn't mean others won't try to hurt you. It means that their words and actions only have power if you internalize them. If someone repeatedly brings up your past to wound you, recognize their intention and refuse to give them control over your emotions. To defend yourself, be selective with trust. Not everyone deserves access to your deepest thoughts and emotions. Trust must be earned, not given freely. Recognize manipulation. If someone consistently brings up your past or insecurities to hurt you, it's not an accident. It's a strategy. Detach emotionally. Just because someone uses your vulnerability against you doesn't mean it defines you. Like Marcus Aurelius advised, focus on what you know to be true, and when necessary, distance yourself from those who habitually weaponize your trust. Their presence in your life is toxic. Your vulnerabilities are not weaknesses, they are proof of your humanity. But when placed in the wrong hands, they become ammunition. Protect your inner world, and never allow someone to make you feel powerless over your own past. Lies, when used as a tool of manipulation, go far beyond simple falsehoods. They are deliberate, strategic, and designed to create confusion while shifting power in favor of the deceiver. Manipulators do not lie out of fear or embarrassment, they lie to distort reality, erode trust, and make their victims question their own perceptions. Over time, this constant deception leaves people feeling uncertain, anxious, and unable to distinguish truth from fiction. History is filled with figures who have used lies as weapons to maintain control and influence. One of the most infamous examples is Richard Nixon, the 37th President of the United States. The Watergate scandal was not just about a break-in, it was a massive cover-up built on layers of deceit. Nixon repeatedly denied any involvement, even as undeniable evidence surfaced. He went as far as gaslighting the public, attacking the credibility of his accusers and insisting that the allegations were baseless. In the end, it was not just the crime but the relentless deception that led to his downfall, shattering public trust in leadership. Another striking example is Bernie Madoff, the mastermind behind one of the largest financial frauds in history. Madoff did not just tell lies, he constructed an entirely false reality. Through his Ponzi scheme, he convinced thousands of investors that they were making steady profits, when in reality, their money was being used to pay off earlier investors. The illusion was so convincing that even financial experts were deceived. By the time the truth came out, billions of dollars had vanished, and countless lives were devastated. But deception is not limited to history books or global scandals. It happens every day in personal relationships, workplaces, and social circles. Consider the case of Elon Musk and his leadership tactics. While undeniably a visionary entrepreneur, he has been known to stretch the truth to maintain his image. In 2018, he tweeted that he had secured funding to take Tesla private at $420 per share, causing stock prices to fluctuate wildly. The claim turned out to be false, leading to an SEC lawsuit and a $20 million settlement. While Musk's ambitions continue to push boundaries, this incident demonstrated how even in the business world, manipulation through strategic dishonesty can influence perceptions and outcomes. On a more personal level, consider the case of John, a hard-working employee who found himself the target of office politics. A co-worker began spreading false rumors about him, twisting facts and fabricating stories to undermine his reputation. Whenever John tried to confront the situation, the co-worker would deny everything, making him question his own memory. This pattern of deception, known as gaslighting, was designed to weaken John's confidence and keep him on the defensive. But over time, John recognized the strategy at play and realized that the only way to break free was to stop engaging with the lies. The Stoic philosophers understood that truth is not dictated by what others say, but by what remains solid despite deception. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have the power to hold your mind steady, no matter what happens around you." This means that no matter how much someone tries to manipulate reality, their lies only hold power if you accept them as truth. To protect yourself from manipulative lies, focus on recognizing patterns rather than trusting promises. Chronic liars may sound convincing, but their actions always reveal the truth. Do not engage in their mind games. Manipulators thrive on confusion and drawing you into endless debates. Instead, verify information independently and seek multiple sources before accepting something as fact. And most importantly, hold your mind steady. As Marcus Aurelius advised, your perception of reality is yours alone. If someone distorts facts to control you, trust your instincts. Stand firm in what you know, and refuse to let deception shake your inner peace. Lies are only powerful if you believe them. The moment you see through the illusion, you take back control. Some individuals do not seek peace and stability, instead, they intentionally create conflict to manipulate and control those around them. They spread rumors, provoke arguments, and stir up drama, not out of emotional investment but because they thrive on division and instability. For them, chaos is not an unfortunate consequence, it is a calculated tool. History has shown that some of the most influential figures have used conflict as a means of consolidating power and shaping public perception. Niccolò Machiavelli, in The Prince, argued that a ruler should sometimes create conflict deliberately to maintain control. By dividing people, a leader ensures that no single group becomes powerful enough to challenge their authority. This philosophy still influences many politicians, CEOs, and power players today. A modern example is former US President Donald Trump. Regardless of one's political stance, it is undeniable that he used chaos strategically. By making polarizing statements, engaging in feuds with the media, and fostering political rivalries, he kept public attention focused on him. The constant state of controversy made him the central figure in every discussion, reinforcing his influence. Similarly, Steve Jobs, the visionary co-founder of Apple, was known for his intense and confrontational leadership style. He often pitted employees against one another, creating a highly competitive atmosphere that drove innovation but also left many feeling mentally exhausted. These examples illustrate that conflict, when wielded skillfully, can be a powerful means of maintaining control. But chaos-driven individuals aren't confined to politics or business, they exist in everyday life. Consider Jake's experience with his cousin at family gatherings. She had a habit of making subtle but provocative remarks, bringing up controversial topics just to watch the tension rise. The moment an argument started, she would step back, feigning innocence while the chaos unfolded. At first, Jake thought it was accidental, but over time, he saw the pattern. Some people find pleasure in discord, using it as a way to control social situations. The workplace also has its share of chaos agents who spread gossip, create divisions, and thrive on drama. These individuals know that when others are emotionally unsettled, they hold the upper hand. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus offered a powerful insight into this kind of manipulation: whoever angers you, owns you. This means that when someone provokes an emotional reaction, they gain control over you. The best way to deal with those who thrive on chaos is to refuse to engage. Recognizing the pattern is key. If someone repeatedly causes conflict, it is not random, but intentional. Staying emotionally detached takes away their power, as chaos feeds on heightened emotions. Setting boundaries is crucial. Limiting interactions with habitual troublemakers can protect your peace. And most importantly, never play their game. Some individuals enjoy watching others fight, so refusing to be drawn into pointless arguments denies them the satisfaction they seek. Chaos thrives where emotions run high. The moment you refuse to be manipulated, you reclaim your power. Some people refuse to take responsibility for their actions. No matter the circumstances, they always position themselves as the victim, using this tactic as a form of emotional manipulation to shift blame and guilt onto others. If you're not careful, you may find yourself constantly apologizing for things that aren't your fault or feeling responsible for solving their problems. Throughout history, some of the most influential figures have weaponized victimhood to manipulate public opinion. evade accountability, or justify their actions. Napoleon Bonaparte, after his defeat at Waterloo, sought to rewrite history by portraying himself as a misunderstood hero, who only wanted the best for France. By painting himself as a victim of betrayal and unjust exile, he gained sympathy from his supporters, despite the reality that his ambition and military campaigns had led to immense suffering. A more modern example is former U.S. President Richard Nixon during the Watergate scandal. Rather than taking responsibility for his administration's illegal activities, he famously declared, "I am not a crook," framing himself as the target of political enemies rather than someone who had abused his power. This tactic, deflecting blame and appealing to public sympathy, has been used repeatedly by politicians, business leaders, and public figures seeking to escape consequences. In the corporate world, Elizabeth Holmes, the founder of Theranos, played the victim when her fraudulent blood testing company collapsed. Instead of admitting she had deceived investors and endangered patients, she claimed she had been misunderstood and unfairly targeted by the media, attempting to gain sympathy rather than accountability. But this behavior is not confined to history books, politics, or corporate scandals. It appears in everyday life. Consider Lisa's experience with a friend who blamed everyone else for his failures. When he lost his job, it was because his boss was out to get him. When his relationship ended, it was because his partner was too demanding. No matter what happened, he never accepted responsibility for his actions. At first, Lisa sympathized, offering support and encouragement. But when she eventually stopped feeding into his victim mentality, he turned on her, accusing her of being selfish and uncaring. The workplace is another environment where this pattern is common. Some co-workers never admit mistakes. When a project fails, they blame management. When they miss a deadline, they insist they weren't given enough time. Their ability to shift blame protects their ego, but it creates a toxic work culture where others must compensate for their lack of accountability. The Stoics taught that true strength comes from owning one's actions and choices. Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In other words, real power comes from taking responsibility. If someone in your life constantly plays the victim, recognize the manipulation for what it is. You are not responsible for fixing their problems or carrying their emotional burdens. To handle chronic victims, the first step is recognizing the pattern. If someone consistently blames others, and never takes responsibility, do not fall into the trap of feeling guilty for them. Avoid feeding into their narrative, as endless sympathy only reinforces their behavior. Instead, encourage them to take ownership of their choices. Setting boundaries is essential. If their victim mentality becomes emotionally draining, limit your involvement in their drama. Hold them accountable by redirecting conversations to solutions rather than excuses. Asking, "What can you do differently next time?" Taking responsibility for one's actions is a sign of true inner strength. Those who refuse to do so remain trapped in their own excuses. Do not let them pull you down with them. Thank you for watching. Do you enjoy Peaceful Horizons? If you liked this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.